What's going on, everyone? Tonight I was thinking about the language of chess and how we all share this common passion. And sometimes you can hang out with people that don't speak your language and communicate with them over the board or just through gibberish, sign language. Uh, a couple of funny tales crossed my mind. In Pardubice, en route to the tournament game, I was walking through the park, and who do I see on a bench but the legendary Ratmir Khomov with a bottle of vodka? So I'm like kind of starstruck because for me, one of the greatest games, or one of my favorite games, was Khomov Kiri's 1959 USSR Championship. I happen to know this game, and and there he was, kind of getting toasted. So I saunter up to him and I said I'm playing the tournament, and he doesn't speak any English. So I'm speaking English and he offered me a drink. So we're sitting there on the bench getting a little drunk and I'm spouting on in English. He's talking Russian. And we just sat there for, I don't know, a half hour before we went to the game. Uh, and I was so happy. I mean, we were laughing and chuckling, and I had a great game. I went in there and I drew Bermakin, um, who's a good GM, and I went over and he was just crushed somebody. I don't know who it was, but we were smiling during the whole round was just fantastic. So he was another one. Now this guy here, I'm going to show you a very tiny miniature versus an old friend of mine from New York, Grandmaster Ramon Mateo. Now Mateo was also hilarious. Yeah, he lived in New York forever, and he didn't speak any English either. And he used to say to me, "Elon, I need a blondie." He's from Dominican Republic, and we were always laughing and stuff. And I have my pretty bad Spanish. It's better now, but he say, "Elon, I got money and I got chicas. I don't need nothing." And he had a men's clothing store on the Upper West Side, and he said, these suits, the Italian suits, they good, but my wool from the islands is tropical, and tropical wool it have more ha. That's what he used to say. He didn't say much more than that. We would just laugh. So we had many sessions, and he's the top player from the Dominican Republic. Played board one for their Olympic team many times, and we had this silly miniature where I caught him with a nasty trick. All right, everything pretty standard. Queen's Gambit declined again. I don't know what these people are smoking, but okay. At least Ramon plays sharp, right? Now there are a couple of moves here. I can go Rook D1 is usually what I like to do. Then this queen will jump to A5. You can play CD. You can play DC. Uh, in this game, I chose this one. And here, normal recipe, I think knight takes C5, Rook D1, Queen A5 resembles something traditional. Um, and Ramon took this one here. It's probably okay. And then Queen A5. And when I ate this, I think he's fine here. You should just play Queen takes C5 and hit this bishop straight away. If I go BD3, um, maybe some A6. I don't really feel like I'm threatening much. It, I'm not sure if it's equal or slightly better or worse. It's probably just roughly equal. But there are other ways to take on c5, right? You can take with the bishop, you can take with the knight. And I think he's an active player. So kind of expect him to take with the knight, and he did. And so now, what's the top move? What's the best move? What's the idea? And this is a very tricky idea because it threatens two things at once. It's tactical, it's positional, and and I and I forgot that it was okay. Now it's coming. Now it's coming. Hold on a second here. I forgot to castle. Now you have to ask yourself the same questions. All right. So rook d4. It looks so nice because it threatens the obvious rook h4, bishop takes f6, and queen takes h7 mate. This would be the first, knee-jerk reaction for anybody to see rook d4 on the board, and also it is prophylaxis. It has a little touch of everything. It's positional, even if you didn't have a threat and you weren't going to go rook h4 and try to checkmate somebody. You were just doubling the rooks, and the rook stands very well on d4. So it's positional, it's tactical, and it's prophylactic against b5. Well, how does it stop b5 in its tracks? This is why it was such a nasty trick, and it ended up a miniature, because when he plays b5, the main idea was not to go rook h4. The trick was b4. This was why. You see, knowing your opponent so well helps a lot. This is why you see in the top class poker, when you're watching all the Triton characters, they is so much meta involved that you don't even know about. Like, you're saying, well, this play doesn't make sense, and this play's awkward, and this isn't game theory. But they have thousands of hands in their databases, right? So things change. It's that way with me and Mateo. Like, we played so many times. And so you see what's happened now. He took on b4 because he thought he had counterplay. Again, going for the sharpest. Bishop d5 seems just went on the spot, but he figured he would take this one. But I think he just overlooked this, and that's the end. He can't take back. He can't take on. Can't do anything. It's just over. Queen is hanging. So b5 was a new lemon. What would have happened if he played more normal move? He had to go queen c7. In this way, I take the knight, he takes the bishop, and I play rook takes c4. And this is a clear passed pawn. He cannot play bishop takes c5 because bishop takes f6. He recaptures on f6, and knight e4 wins the piece on c5. It will be pinned, right? Because the bishop will be here, the queen will be here, the knight will go on e4, and there will be a dreadful pin. So white simply gets a clear passed pawn on c5. Okay? So theoretically lost. So that was a very clever trick. Things to look out for. I think he moved back to the island. And if I ever show up in Dominican Republic and see Ramon, I know we'll have a good time, and I will try to. Well, I will display some Spanish that I didn't have before. All right. I hope you enjoyed this miniature. I think it's just instructive to keep your eyes peeled, for the tactics, and also for reacting to your opponent's plans. Okay. Y'all take care.